Hi everyone, and welcome to my nutrition mission. Today I'm going to be following on from last week's episode where I talked a lot about, I talked all about different types of fats, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I got quite a few messages wanting to know a little bit more about the healthy types of fats and how we can put them put them into our diet more regularly. So today I'm going to be focusing on MCT oil, which is an awesome type of fat, and I'm going to be showing you how I make my Kickstarter coffee, which if you follow along on my Instagram, it regularly stars on my Instagram stories because I always show what I'm eating and drinking, and I tend to have my Kickstarter coffee every day, so it stars on my Instagram story a lot. So I'm going to show you how I make that and what goes into it and how delicious it is. So last week's episode was all about the different types of fats. So if you missed it, you can see it on my on my YouTube channel. I talked about the polyunsaturated fats, so the really yucky ones, vegetable oils that we want to avoid. Saturated fat, the good types from grass-fed cows, full-fat dairy from grass-fed cows, and coconut oil, which is where MCT comes from. And we also talked about monounsaturated fats, so avocado oil and olive oil that you really want to eat heaps of, like put them on everything. So MCT oil is what I'm focusing on today, and you can see that's the one I use right there. So MCT oil, MCT stands for medium chain triglycerides, which really, it just refers to the length of the carbon atoms, or how many carbon atoms make up the fat molecule. So medium chain means between 6 and 12 carbon atoms. That's scientific, you don't really need to know that. But for those of you who like to know that, that's what that means. Now, they're a form of saturated fat that comes from coconut oil. And you may know that coconut oil is an incredible source of fat. It's got so many different benefits, which I'll get into in a little bit. And coconut oil is 65% MCT on its own, but you can now get a concentrated form of that, which is purely the MCTs. So I tend to use both in my diet, and I'll tell you why that is. So now MCTs are largely missing in our Western diet simply because of one of the worst or biggest nutrition lies that has ever been, which is that low-fat diets are good for you. We now know through so much scientific research that fat is great for our body, the right type of fat though. And we only need to look at traditional cultures in tropical regions who have consumed saturated fat in the form of coconut oil and palm oil for thousands of years without ill effects. They're thriving and always have been. And it just goes to prove that fat isn't the dietary demon that it once was thought to be, if it's the good type of fat. So why are MCTs so special? There are a few different reasons. So first of all, MCTs are really easily digested because, like I said, they're medium chain. So they only have the 6 to 12 carbon atoms, which are easier to break down in our body. So they're easily digested. They're directed right to the liver, where they have a thermogenic effect. It means it takes your body energy to break them down, so it boosts your metabolism. And they're burned as fuel and not stored as fat. So they're burned up right away and you don't keep them for later, so it doesn't show up in your body like that. Another thing about MCTs that is great that I personally love, because if you follow along with my nutrition mission, you'll know that I'm a big fan of gut health, and I really think all of our illnesses and disease, most of them I should say, come from our gut's health. Now, MCTs are awesome for the gut environment because they combat harmful bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. MCTs also help to protect your heart, and they're also great for brain health because our brain is largely made up of fat. It's massively fatty. So by consuming these good fats, it helps to nourish our brain, it helps the neurons to fire, it helps the receptors to hear those neural messages, all sorts of scientific things. And it also really helps to keep our mood stable, or improve our mood and improve our energy. And fats also help our body to absorb nutrients. So vitamins A, D, E, and K can't be absorbed without fat. So if they're in the presence of fat, your body can absorb them and use them. If you're not consuming enough fat, then those vital nutrients are going to be missing in your body. So I talked about how MCT comes from coconut oil. Now, coconut oil is incredible. So it's antibacterial, it's got antiviral properties, antimicrobial. I kind of just called the anti-oil but in a good way. You know, it has so many great benefits. It's high in antioxidants, which helps to reduce inflammation in our body. And we know that chronic inflammation is what leads to chronic disease. So personally, I try to include a lot of anti-inflammatory foods in my diet every day, in my family's diet. I also have an episode all about that, so check that out. Without going into too much detail now. But yeah, coconut oil is just incredible. So I use coconut oil and MCT oils interchangeably because coconut oil has all those great effects. But the concentrated MCT oils are awesome for boosting metabolism and great for my brain and heart health. So I kind of just go between the two. I don't have like a schedule or anything. I'm like to be spontaneous in my use of oils, living on the edge. But yeah, I just decide what I'm going to use that day. Coconut oil I usually use for cooking or in smoothies. And sometimes in my Kickstarter coffee. The MCT oil I add to smoothies, and I also use it in my Kickstarter coffee. Now the difference, like coconut oil will obviously, there's not much left because I use it all the time, but I'm just waiting on a new shipment. But it's solid at room temperature when it's cooler, whereas MCT oil is always liquid. So if you add it to your smoothies or the Kickstarter coffee, it won't get like the little chunky bits. So I guess that's all about that I'm going to cover today about MCT. Is kind of a quick episode, but I want to show you how I make my Kickstarter coffee in the morning. So I love coffee, but I like to get some nutrients in the morning, and macronutrients in particular, like fat. So I kind of base this on bulletproof coffee. It's not bulletproof because I don't use the bulletproof branded MCT and beans simply because I've never bought them. So I just kind of made this up a little while ago. Anyway, so this is what I put into it, and it's really quick and easy to make in the morning. So it's an awesome way of breaking the fast in the morning. And whether or not you fast, so I know some people fast like 16 hours. This is an awesome thing to have after that. I usually, Joel and I, probably about 12 to 14 hours. But after that, I'm like, give me something in my stomach. I need food. So anyway, so into my Kickstarter coffee, I put espresso. So I just brew that in the morning. Simple. And then I use almond and coconut milk, or just plain almond milk. Now, when it comes to almond milk, I prefer to use the cold pressed almond milk rather than, so that's the stuff you find in the refrigerated section, not the stuff that's sitting on the shelf. I just think things that are, have a really long shelf life, they quite obviously have things added to them to make them, be able to last that long. I'd rather have things that don't have a long shelf life so that I know they're not full of preservatives. So cold pressed almond milk, there's more almonds in it. It's not like, the shelf ones where the almonds walked through on stilts kind of thing. They're like traces of almonds. There's a lot more almonds in cold pressed. There's no preservatives. There's nothing to make it last longer. Usually no emulsifiers, so you don't get that like the plasticky film taste on your tongue, and no sweeteners or additives. So that's what I prefer to use. I get a really good one at the market by this lovely lady down in Byron. She's wonderful. Okay, so I add coconut and almond milk, and then my MCT oil. So like I said, it's an oil, it's a liquid form. So I put a tablespoon. When you're first getting used to MCT oil though, you probably don't want to use a full tablespoon or you might have some issues. So start out with a teaspoon and then up it by 2 teaspoons and work your way up to a tablespoon. I think some people actually use even 2 tablespoons. I stick with 1. Another thing I like to add is some collagen. So collagen and gelatin are awesome for gut health, for lining your gut, your intestinal walls, which improves your immune system. Doesn't let any of the food particles leak out of your intestines and into your bloodstream, which is what causes what's the word? I want to say anti-inflammatory, but that's not it. Autoimmune diseases or autoimmune attacks. So yeah, collagen and gelatin is a great thing to have in your diet every day. I get it through bone broth. I get it through my gelatin gummies that I make, and just through this stuff. So this doesn't go solid in cold, so I can put it in smoothies as well. And I love to put it in my coffee. So I put a teaspoon of that in. This one's formulated for hair, skin, and nails. So can't have too good of hair, skin, and nails. I also put in some cacao. So cacao is really hot. That's my dog barking, obviously. Cacao is really high in antioxidants and polyphenols, so great for reducing the all the chemicals in our environment, all the free radicals that are damaging our cells every day from car pollution, air pollution, cleaning chemicals, just crap. So I try to get as many antioxidants in as I can every day in the form of berries. I take a concentrated form of berry capsules because the polyphenols in berries are incredible antioxidants. So the more berries, the better. And cacao, raw cacao. It doesn't have any sugar added. It's not processed, so it's got all the good stuff. Then I add some mushroom powder. Now, it's not like I'm making mushroom coffee. I guess I kind of am because it's mushroom, but it doesn't have like a mushroomy flavor because that would be kind of gross. But these medicinal mushrooms are awesome adaptogens, which means that they adapt to help your body with anything it might be dealing with. So whether that's high stress, low energy, low immunity, they adapt to boost you in areas that you need it. So this is a blend, don't scare me, of different mushrooms. I think there's about 4 in here. So I put about a little less than half a teaspoon. You can't taste it, so don't be scared. Cinnamon, because cinnamon is just beautiful and I love the flavor. So about a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then the last thing I add is maca powder. So maca powder is again really high in antioxidants. Has kind of like a malty flavor, and it's really great for regulating your hormones. So ladies, excellent for us. About a half, maybe a little bit more, 1/2 to a teaspoon of maca powder. As you get used to the taste, you probably want a little bit more. And that's it really. So again, I feel like in all of these recipes that I make on here, I use my NutriBullet. That's like the thing I use the most, I think, in my kitchen, because you can just make everything. So I just pop it in here, ready? And it's done. And then I heat it up on the stove, or this one would probably be about room temperature, so I can just drink it like this. And you'll see that the MCT oil makes it really frothy, which is so nice, and it doesn't separate. Whereas if you do use the coconut oil, it might separate a little bit, and you'll definitely have to heat it up if it's winter because you don't want chunks of oil floating around in your Kickstarter coffee. So that's it. My husband's home, so I'm sure he'll steal this from me. I have no doubt. So that's it for today. So if you know anyone who would really like to learn a little bit more about MCTs or would like this recipe, then please feel free to share this video. And yeah, follow along with my nutrition mission on YouTube and Instagram. And I'll see you next week, where I'm pretty sure next week I'm going to talk about vitamin D because we don't get enough of it and we need lots of it. So that's it for today. And now in my new kitchen, I have to come around because my kitchen is so big now. So that's it from me. See ya.